Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of NC-17. I'm Josh. Lisa's out doing her thing, which is always a good thing. Today we have with us, and I'm sorry if I say it wrong, but is it Kassie?
Yes, Cassie.
All right, Kassie Ryan Jackson, who is one of the stars of the upcoming movie from Horrorland Media called Twisted Gables. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Uh, so before we get into the movie, let's talk a little bit about like, is this the genre you liked, or like your movie preferences?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a 100% a horror fan. I have been my entire life. I think honestly, one of the first movies that got me hooked on it, I was at my babysitter's house and watched the original Last House on the Left.
Oh,
And yes, that was probably a little bit much for my age, but I fell in love. And then Ginger Snaps, outside I saw that and I was just hooked from there. So yes, always been a big fan of horror.
oh yeah. Uh, so being a big fan of horror and getting in, is this your first movie or?
I was given the opportunity. I played an extra in Mother Shucker, but this was I guess my official acting debut
Oh yeah,
for in Twisted Gables. It was really an excellent opportunity. I was super excited to be a part of it.
oh yeah. Uh, I'm a huge fan of Mother Shucker, so
It's,
that like when I watched it, I was a little bit like taken aback because I wasn't expecting what I got.
Mhm.
So I'm really looking forward to Twisted Gables, which it's looks like it's a far left turn from well right turn from Mother Shucker.
Yes, it's definitely taken a different route. To see that be the first movie and then go on to this one, it's definitely I think it's a turn that people wouldn't expect for it being a first to a second movie production.
Oh yeah. Uh, so let's talk a little bit about your character. You play the wife of a corrupt person.
Yes, I do. I play Victoria Slaughters, who is the wife of the Judge Slaughters or Benjamin Slaughters. Which it's so funny to see the contrast between him and Dan, who actually plays him, because this was my first interaction with really the majority of the cast as like an in-depth interaction with them, and their characters couldn't be more different. But in person versus real life, but. He is my husband, and I'm kind of navigating through the corruption that is taking place that, in part of the movie I'm actually a part of. So, I think it definitely takes some interesting twists and turns as we navigate through the movie, but um, it was an exciting role for me to play because I get to play kind of more like of a snotty, like kind of upper class gal, and that's not who I am at all. I'm not talking myself up, but I'm pretty down to earth. I don't like to treat people with like any type of not being hateful towards them. So it was kind of almost nice to step into my little like bad girl energy for this. So it was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Uh, I've seen the trailer multiple times. There's one scene in particular that I know either A really hurt somebody or you guys really choreographed that, and that was a smack. I mean, you smacked the hellfire out of
I did. It was real. I'm so sorry to say it was real. It was one of those scenes that I was so nervous going into it because right after the slap, I do have little bit of a monologue after that. And I'm like, remember your lines, remember your lines. As soon as the slap went through, I forgot everything. And it was, but we were able to film it where the transition worked. But yes, I felt terrible. But I asked him, I said, "Do you want to do this for real, like full send?" Dan looked at me, he goes, "Full send." I'm like, "All right, let's do this."
it. That's crazy. But I mean, that also shows the respect you guys have for each other because he's willing to let you do that and he's trusting you not to knock him out.
Yes, even though I will say there was some encouragement from some fellow cast members to slap him very hard. So,
Yeah.
all in good fun, of course, all in good fun.
Oh yeah. Uh, so without spoiling anything, what would you say would be the biggest moment in the film for you without spoiling anything?
I would say the biggest moment in the film for me was I'm trying to think of how to put this. I guess the realization of all the corrupt things going on is
Okay.
kind of like one of those moments. It's like kind of taking a look around and really taking everything in and seeing what that does for my character, how it changes them.
Oh yeah. Now, as of this moment, I actually have not seen the film yet. I've seen the trailer, so I mean, just from the trailer, it looks really good. But so the story is the corruption kind of affects the Gables,
Yes.
and well, the Gables kind of try to take matters into their own hands.
Yeah.
So in doing that, was there scenes that were filmed that you were like, that's a little bit too realistic, or other than a slap? I mean, what would you say?
I would say it's definitely this film compared to Mother Shucker. You know, Mother Shucker, we're dealing with a corn monster. In this one, we're honestly dealing with like the dark side of human nature. So it's honestly a lot of it is very realistic because I mean, you see this corruption and all that. I mean, in day-to-day life and, in the world that we're in now. So to kind of see that and watch it like actively change people was it's very interesting to see. But yeah, it's definitely relatable to real life.
Uh, any behind the scenes shenanigans that went on that maybe some other people wouldn't talk about?
I mean, there's always shenanigans, I feel like, especially, Carl, who is, one of the, he's in Mother Shucker and, he's another key player in this, both on camera and behind camera. There's always shenanigans with him. And he's actually the one that kind of got me, into it with this crew. And there's always shenanigans going on. I think I'm just kind of seeing how everybody plays off of each other, behind the scenes, and then seeing how those relationships like reflect and like on film, and just kind of how we all get to, like I said, put the work in behind the scenes to see how it plays on screen. There's always gonna be shenanigans.
Oh yeah. Uh, with your character, did you draw from real life inspiration, or did you just think of how this character is going to be, and you just portrayed it, or how's that go?
Well, I will say I think that there are very few women alive who haven't felt a lover's scorn before. So, without going into too much detail, I will say that there was definitely some real life inspiration that I pulled from my past to kind of motivate me and kind of help me get into character.
All
So,
right.
definitely real life inspiration.
Oh yeah. Uh, so with working with them on film twice now, uh, what would you say would be the best takeaways from being on both films with the same crew?
Well, my involvement with the first one, it was honestly just it was a very, very short interaction, but getting to come together with them for this second film of theirs and being like really, involved and engrossed, and I really got the opportunity to get to know everybody a lot more. And there was people who were also new to this, to Twisted Gables who were not in the first one. So, just getting to know them and really getting to build those relationships with them. And it's really cool getting to know everybody on a deeper level.
Oh yeah. So when you got your script first time reading it, walk us through what you were thinking when you were reading it.
I was going through and the first thing everybody's going to do is like, what are my lines? And I'm kind of going through reviewing where mine are, and then I'm reading through the entire script as a whole, and I'm like seeing where it starts and then as it progresses, and it was just like this, how it builds, and then ultimately how the film concludes. It was a wild ride. I remember walking into our first reading just so pumped up. I mean, like, this is it. And just there's the one very important scene for my character. Well, it was important for me because I was so excited to film it, that I read that and I was like, pardon me, but I was like, hell yeah. Cannot wait.
Oh yeah. Uh, so speaking of that, were there certain scenes where, well, like you just said, you were really excited to get into, but was there certain scenes that were maybe a little bit more challenging to film than others?
I will say there were some scenes, like I said, I'm the type of person I smile all the time, but there were scenes where I kind of had to like lean more and to kind of be like a little bit more hateful. And I had to like make my face do things that I'm not used to doing. I know, I believe whenever we were doing the reveals of who was actually on the cast, it was talking about the looks that I was giving, and I had to give people some hateful looks, and that was honestly really hard for me because I genuinely like to smile and I try to find the good in everything, and to really look at somebody like I hated them. Oh, that was hard for me.
Oh yeah. Uh, what would you say? And just a little bit of a spoiler. What would be one of your favorite lines you get to say? Just one line.
Mm, till death do we part.
Okay. All right. Uh, so when it comes to the Gables and your family getting to, I'm gonna say the climax of the movie.
Hmm.
Uh, was it like were there brutal scenes where it was like, okay, that's something I was looking forward to, or did it actually catch you by surprise? Now you've read the script, but seeing it played out.
Uh, I mean, I was definitely looking forward to all of it because there are some more gory scenes in it. But like I said, I'm a fan of horror. There's different levels of gore and horror. So I was looking forward to it, but seeing how they were really actually able to make it come alive was amazing. And I was like, oh, like some of the scenes close up, I was like, oh my gosh. The the fake blood, it doesn't whenever you're in it, it does not like feel fake. And I think the reaction to some of the blood too, it was very real because the night that we were filming, it was very, very cold. And everybody was a great sport about it, but just like feeling that blood, it's almost like it shocked you as much as seeing actual blood because of the temperature of it.
Oh yeah. Uh, in retrospect, looking back on how the film was, like how you guys made the film and everything like that, have you seen the end product yet?
No, we are actually going to have our the screening party in a couple of weeks, and I'm very excited for that. To see everybody and to see how our hard work all came together, and to see what the movie magic they were able to work and how everything comes together in the end.
All right. What would you say would be the one thing you would like to have had happen differently with your character, other than because just talking to you now, you seem like the type of person that likes to smile. So,
Uh, Honestly, I think with the character, really don't feel like there's much that I would have changed about her because it did kind of allow me to step outside of like my usual like you know hey there, buddy guy. I guess, and really just like, kinda step into that, like, because everybody would almost like to see like the opposite of who they are. And this really, I was given the opportunity to step into that. And honestly, I don't know if I would have really been given that motivation on my own with them telling, like, reading through the script. I'm like, oh, this is how you want me to do this. And it was, I wouldn't honestly change a thing about it.
uh, well, that's good to know. So with filming this one and getting it done, are you actively going to be in more of their films as they make more, or?
Oh, I mean, I would love to, be given the opportunity. And, it's something that I've told them, like, if you need me, call me. Like, absolutely. Because, excuse me, it was a lot of fun. And, it's, no, I'm just a regular person. I work, Monday through Friday. I have a regular job. So, to be able to like step outside and do something like this, and it's so much fun. And I think it just kind of like scratches that itch that we all have in us to do something outside of the realm of what we usually do. So, absolutely, I would work with them again, 100%.
Okay. Uh, so yeah, Twisted Gables is supposed to be out later this month.
Mhm.
Uh, with the trailer, did it give away too much or did it not give away? Like it just give away just enough.
I think it gave away just enough. I think seeing the whole product kind of because it teases at a few different things because it's you see the beginning and then you see this part in the middle and you're like, what in the world happened in between this scene and this scene? Like, how did we get there? And then there's more that comes after that too. So I think it's just enough.
All right. So with your character being married to a corrupt judge, would you say your character was forced into corruption or just kind of gradually went into it?
Um, I want to say forced to an extent because while I am married to a corrupt character, my father in the movie is also kind of, not a straight shooter himself. So I think it was more forced into the role, but you know, kind of fell into it gracefully as well.
All right. And with some of the dialogue, just even in the trailer, some of the dialogue is like you have one scene of oh my god, how are you doing? And then the next scene is like, you sent them out there to die. Like, I mean, does it traverse like a bumpy road? Is one calm moment, then a crazy moment?
Um, I'll say I might have to, knowing how it flows and seeing, like, reading the script and actually seeing how everything plays out, I feel like I'm gonna have to like wait to fully give you that until I see it. I feel like it flows kind of smoothly where there's like moments of like boom in your face where you do get like that bumpiness that comes up, but then like in between. So I feel like it's, it has those in your face bumpy moments, but I feel like it flows pretty well.
All right. Outside of your own character, who would be your next favorite character?
Oh, Jenny's character. Miss Gable.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think just because I just love her so much, just who she is, off screen, of course. This is my first time meeting her, and her and I just clicked just like that. But then seeing how well she like got into character and just, uh, you know, portrayed her role, it was, she's such a badass in that movie. Like, she did so great.
Okay. Uh, you work alongside some independent wrestlers in this movie.
Yes.
Uh, the stature wise, like, were they more intimidating just by the look, or when they were in full costume?
I think in full costume, they were more intimidating because, you know, looking at them, clearly, with Lex especially, he's a very, very tall man and, very built man as well. So I think if you look at him, you're like, oh my gosh. And then he starts talking and you're like, oh my gosh, he's like an 8 foot tall teddy bear. Like he's nothing. But then he puts on the mask and it's like, oh, you're serious. Like it's, it was definitely an interesting transformation.
Uh, uh, Again, without spoiling too much, was there a certain 187 kill in there that you particularly was like, that's awesome?
Yes, there was, I will say, I think I do definitely have one favorite kill that I can't really go into too much detail,
Yeah.
but everybody that was there like knew that that was my favorite kill. I think they did a phenomenal job on like orchestrating all these scenes and the props and everything was perfect.
All right. Uh, Here's a question I don't ask the people normally. Wardrobe, was that like brought in to set, or was that like your actual clothing?
It was my actual clothing. I know whenever we were talking about it, Lee, she was sending me stuff. She's like, this is what we're kind of feeling. And I brought a few options because, clearly I'm supposed to be viewed, I'm a judge's wife, I'm supposed to be like a socialite from like one of the bigger cities. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna bring out like some of these other, dresses that, like I don't wear. So I was trying to I pulled stuff from my own closet, but stuff that, us women save for like special occasions and all that. But yeah, definitely the inspiration came from her, but I was like, I have the perfect outfit for that. And she's like, absolutely go for it. This is what we want you to do. And so it was a lot of fun though.
All right. Uh, so I know people want to. I know that some people are going to view the movie as like a an out for justice kind of film for the Gables. Your mindset, what kind of film would you say like this is?
I I'm gonna say like a pinch of justice, but also almost like, we're trying to correct the path. Like we were on the straight and narrow, and then all this kind of led us astray, and now we need to get back to the path that we were on, and like the things that people will do to to restore the peace and to restore that rightful path that we're supposed to be on.
Uh, uh, so being a big fan of Mother Shucker, there was one line in particular I really, really enjoyed. I'm not gonna go. Carl said it when it's the Barbie line. But so in this one, is there a line that caught you off guard that was said from another character that kind of like broke you and made you laugh?
Yes, and I cannot remember it verbatim. I think it was Lex that said it. It was something about Gilbert Grape. I don't know. I just remember Gilbert Grape being in there, and it was good job, Gilbert Grape. And I just died. But I was like, because I was not there whenever the actual scene was filmed, but they were cracking up about it when I came the next time they showed me. Hilarious. And it's just, and that's the thing with them, like a lot of like the chemistry that you see on camera is just it's just raw, and it's just everybody like these are how they really are in real life. It's just we just get to throw a different name on us and add a little different characteristics. But yes, that line, whenever I heard it, I laughed so hard. So you'll know it when you trust me.
Uh, uh, let's talk a minute about Justin and his writing styles. I think the fact that they went from virtually no script for Mother Sucker to a full script, that's either signs of a good writer or just a genius beyond recognition. What would you say is like his writing style? What would you say? What would your opinions be?
I think to go from, like you said, to go from Mother Shucker to this, I think it shows how diverse, like
Yes.
that diversity that's in the scripts, and like to go from something, because it can be seen like the idea of Mother Shucker, looking at that initially, it can be like, oh well, this is kind of goofy, kind of cool, like, but then you go to something like more serious like this, it shows like to have that ability to flip back and forth like that, to be like, oh well, we're going to go with this, but then we're also going to explore like the deeper, darker side of human nature. Like I think it was phenomenal, honestly, phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Prop. I say prop to him.
Oh yeah. Uh, so Lee is kind of like a background person. Uh, she's always got nothing but positive things to say about everybody that they work with. And what would be the most positive thing you can say that Lee brings to everything?
I will say, the first time, and it's just like this was like the immediate energy I got from her, and she continued that all throughout. Whenever I first went to their house and was doing the script read, like I was pretty nervous. I, knew, like I said, I've known Carl for almost a decade now, and just kind of like knew everybody else on a surface level, but she just has this like welcoming and warm energy about her that you just automatically, like, as soon as I walked into their home, she greeted me. She's like, "Come on in." She introduced everybody, and you just feel like, oh, she's just got one of those energies that you're like, everything's going to be okay. Lee said it's okay, so everything's going to be okay. Just very warm and nurturing, and she's just a really positive energy to be around. I love that about her.
Oh yeah. What would if you were a director? What kind of music would you have in a movie?
Well, I mean, that kind of all, it depends on the movie, but I think being who I am, I'm also and it's been told to me before that, my personality and the things that I like are two very different things, but I'm a really big fan of like metal. So I would probably want like some type of depending on what scene we were in the movie, but definitely like some metal or like some more like harder rock is what I would go with. And I just feel like sometimes that just really drives it home, especially on those more intense scenes.
Uh, uh, Believe it or not, so I asked my wife the same question. She doesn't watch horror at all. But I said, if you were making a horror movie, what would you? She chose Lordy's Hard Rock Hallelujah. Yeah, and I was like, well, what kind of scene would that be for? And she was like, when the bad guy's turning good. I was like, get away from
Bad
me.
guy doesn't always turn good. That's what we like.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I'm
Uh,
still waiting for that Michael Myers redemption movie. So, we'll see.
yeah. Sorry, that was a little tangent. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Uh, what would you what would you like to say to people who are trying to get into the business and just like who want to put themselves in front of the camera?
I will say, it's a little nerve-wracking because deep down, we're all self-conscious. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this. People I know are going to watch this. What if I'm terrible? And honestly, like, just do it. It's super fun. I had a great time going and meeting everybody and doing this and just do it. You only live once. And, it was a great thing to be part of. I'm super excited. I have no doubt it's going to be amazing. And, whether, 1,000 people or 5 million people see this, I'm so excited to say that I was part of this and that, we went out there and we really did it. We did these scenes together. We froze together. We did it all together. So just do it. I mean, what do you have to lose, honestly?
Uh, so Mother Shucker won a few awards with the NC-17 awards. And I've no doubt that Twisted Gables is definitely going to be up for some awards. What would your character be kind of like? Is it main actress, supporting actress? What would you consider it?
I would definitely consider it a supporting actress, if anything, because while my husband in the movie is one of the more main characters, but like I said, Jenny, my girl, there's your main actress right there. All right, I'll say I'm just definitely support for me.
Uh, so let's go back to that slap for a minute because that's the one scene that kind of stuck out a little bit. How like was your hand hurting after you hit him?
I won't say hurting. It was I could feel a little sting. I do wear rings. I made sure to take my rings off because I was like, just in case. But I didn't do the whole hand. It was mainly just like my fingertips, but they were tingling a little bit afterwards. But he
Uh,
took it great though.
I know I asked Justin and them when they were on before. Uh, how many takes was it? One take or how many takes?
The slap was one take, and whenever I told him that he was a fucking piece of shit. That was all one scene because I told myself, I was like, I'm only gonna slap him once. I'm only gonna slap him once. And I was really trying to make sure I remembered the bulk of my lines after that. But I slapped him and I said that. And then I was like, I looked at him, I said, I forgot everything I was supposed to say. Slap was one scene.
Oh yeah. So in filming that scene, and it's in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. So
Yeah.
filming that scene after you did that, was everyone's jaws open like, oh my God, she just beat the hell out of him?
It was after I kind of stepped back and I was like, I forgot the rest of my lines. Everybody's like, ah. They were like, she's gonna hit him again. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Oh yeah. Well, here's a good question. Would you have been able to do it if it was Lex?
I think I might have had to get like a running jump to go because I think I think if it was Lex, I would have put a little bit more into it because he was talking a lot of crap behind the scenes. Great. Oh no, I'll say it was maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit more.
Well, that is his profession. He should be able to take
I
it.
know, I know. And that was another thing they were saying. They're like, listen, we all throw each other around for fun. And I was like, I mean, I guess I could slap anybody as hard as I wanted to here.
Oh yeah. So we got about 8 minutes left. What would you say would be the most satisfying moment of all, you personally, not your character, like you personally, like of the entire filming process?
Hmm. I'm going to say the most satisfying moment for me is whenever I got to get my hands dirty with blood. I will say,
Okay.
I was like, whenever I got to actually touch the blood, I was like, ooh.
Uh, uh, so again, without spoiling anything, would you say there's a happy ending for some, for none, or for all?
I think that there is a happy ending for some on camera, but in our pretend universe of the movie, I think it's a happy ending for many, many people and a tragic ending for some. But sometimes
Okay,
that's the way that the tables are turned.
true. That that's somehow how that's somehow the best way to explain it, I guess.
Yes.
uh, Here's a good question: is there a potential for a Twisted Gables 2, or is that going to spoil too much?
I would say, what has been corrected at one point can always go astray again. So
All right.
potentially.
Oh, okay. Okay. Uh, any parting words before we go for the people who are going to see this video? Because we're recording right now. So,
Oh yeah. I would definitely say, I feel like the mainstream movies that, go on, they're like this coming to a theater near you that they get so much attention. But I feel that we all just need to take a step back and look at these more indie movies that are being made and really give them a chance because those stories and those people that are in them are just really like an untapped resource and an untapped gold mine because just because something's not going, being produced in Hollywood does not mean that that is not a legitimate story. These people that, like us, everybody that was in that movie, we are all just normal people. We work regular jobs, and on the weekends we get together and we make these productions. So give those indie titles a chance. Get out there and support. These are people are that that you might not know that they do this on the side. These are people in your towns and your communities. Support those smaller movies because that's how we express ourselves. And I think it's definitely an unsung uh thing that we can all get into a little bit more. And kind of building on that, if you're wanting to do something like this, do it. It's so fun. It's so fun. I can tell my children one day, be like, I am a scream queen, kinda.
uh, and all right, so like I asked before, you've seen some of the videos I've done. I just want to be upfront. I'm brutally honest when it comes to my reviews,
Absolutely.
and once I see Twisted Gables, I will be reviewing it. And you are more than welcome to come on when I do. I mean, I'm going to try to get a couple of you guys on when I do review it, so then I can see your actual legitimate shocks if it's good or bad, in my opinion. You know,
Absolutely.
but as I always tell everybody, once you become a guest on NC-17, you always have a home at NC-17. You know.
Dang.
Uh, so real quick, we got what, 4 minutes? One quick game. You want to play a game real quick?
Okay.
I'm gonna name three things. First thing that pops in your head: Twisted Gables,
Ooh, corruption.
corruption, Mother Shucker,
Corn daddy.
Horrorland Media.
There's too many words that pop in my head, but I'm just gonna say brilliant. I'm gonna say brilliant. I love them
Brilliant.
all. They're
Uh,
brilliant.
all right. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. So I'm gonna say with Twisted Gables coming out, once it's out, the it's going to be making the convention scene, and it's going to be available on Horrorland Media, their website. I think it's dot square slash site. I think that's it. If I slaughtered it, I'm sorry. But what would be your hope for this film? Where do you want to see it in like 3 years times?
Wow, I think, 3 years time, I would love for all of us to be able to take a trip to the Bahamas together after, it hit. We've all made millions of dollars off of it, that would, be it. But I really hope that this gives more people exposure to what, Lee and Justin are building and, everybody involved. And, it just it shows people, like they get more exposure and it shows people that, you can go out and do this. So I don't know. I hope it inspires a lot of people. I hope we get to make a bunch more movies together. And I really, really hope to be hanging around these people, on down the line because they're all really cool and really great people.
Any final words before we go?
Ah, just I think right now in this world, we just need a lot of love for each other and, just go out there, smile a lot, and, remember somebody might be having a bad day, so share the love.
There you go. All right. With that, I'd like to thank Miss Kassie Ryan Jackson for coming on. Look for her in Twisted Gables, which comes out later this month by Horrorland Media and Eight Times Productions. Got it right that time. And who knows? Maybe eventually you'll live your own Twisted Gable life.
Who knows? I hope not to some of their extents, but maybe my own, right?
All right. Thank you very much. And you're more than welcome to come on anytime, even if it's just to say, hey, you got a booger in your nose.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. I'm sure we'll be doing one of these again.
Oh, yeah. Uh, all right. So until then, I'm going to say everyone stay NC-17 and until next time.